Hi, Boys and Girls Club kids. My name is Dr. Lysick. Sometimes people call me Dr. Maggie, and I'm here to get 2021 kicked off right. We're going to start with making art projects. We'll be making really cool art projects all the way till the end of the school year. And when we get done, we're going to be able to have our very own art show. It's really exciting. You're going to make quite a few art projects. And so when we get to the end of the year, you'll be able to pick two of the projects that you like the best to put in the art show. Some of you may have seen the mural that we did last semester before Christmas. And if you have, you know that it turned out really, really good, better than any of us thought it would. And it is now in the public library. So if you haven't seen it and you can get over to the library, I highly recommend that you go see it. That mural, plus all of the artwork that we make this semester, will be in that art show in June. So it's super exciting. And so the way that I want to make sure that you are really proud of your artwork and that you make the very best artwork that you can is to teach you about art and to give you some skills on how to make art. And so we're going to talk about that today. The very first project is kind of a little bit of a 2D project, so two-dimensional, which means like a flat piece of paper like this. But then it's also going to be three-dimensional when we get done because we're going to make it into a cube or a building block. Because that's what we're talking about today are the building blocks, the things that artists use. I'm going to move back so you can see it. There you go. The things that artists use in order to make art. So you should have a list of the elements of art and principles of design on your table with you. You should also have one of these already cut out, and this is where we're going to put our artwork. And then we're going to fold it up into a cube, and then we'll have a whole bunch of building blocks for art. You also should have some color pencils. And I hope that you have like a good variety of pencil colors so that you can make some really colorful things. One of the things that we're going to focus on with this is that when you go and you do your design for one of these squares, that you're going to fill the whole square with color and line and shape and all the things that make art fun. And that's what the elements of art and principles of design do. They help us to make all of our things very colorful, very happy, and to look the way that we want them to look. So basically what we're going to do is, this looks like something you would get in school, right? It looks like a vocabulary list, and it sort of is. But we're going to kind of do it backwards because I'm giving you the words and what they mean. You pretty much know what all of them mean, but you might not know exactly how to use them in art. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to play around with it. And so the very first one is line. And so basically you have a definition here, and I'll go ahead and just read it to you. Let's start with color because that's the most fun. So color is an element of art, not a principle of design, and it is made up of hues. So it's a hue is a color. It describes what a color is. And then there's also dark and light. So we have a little bit of value going on. But do you remember what the primary colors are? When you have primary colors, blue, red, and yellow, you can make any color in the rainbow, any color at all with just these three colors. So it's kind of a little bit magic. And so if you decided you wanted to illustrate what color means to show someone instead of writing a definition, then you might put something here, and you might put all of the colors of the color wheel. But you might have even more fun with it by putting all the colors of the rainbow here and doing a rainbow on your square that illustrates color. You can write the element of art or the principles of design, or you can not write it. It doesn't matter. If you want to do line and you want to actually use a line to make the word, that's fine. You actually get to do anything you want to. The only thing that I think I would recommend that you do, and that maybe I might even insist that you do in most cases, is that on each of these 6 squares, you fill the whole space and you don't leave a lot of white space. You can have some, but not a lot, and you don't want it to be like all around the edges. Okay, so you're going to take a look at the elements of art and principles of design, and then you're going to pick 6 of them, because a cube is 6 sides. So you'll have 6 squares in which you're going to illustrate what those elements of art and principles of design are. So one of them that you might consider is called balance. In school, you might have heard it as symmetry. So like the human face is symmetrical. If I draw a line down like this side of my face is the same as this side of my face, so my face is symmetrical. And if I decide that I want it to be asymmetrical, then I might have a side of an object be one way, and on the other side of the cube square, it would be a different way. You can do something like shape, where you might use all different kinds of shapes to create the word. So you might use circles and squares and triangles to create letters that spell out shape. Texture is always fun because people sometimes will actually create texture on their square. They might attach things to it, or they might poke holes in it, or they might color it in such a way that it looks textured. They might put something under it and do like a rubbing, or they might do a rubbing on a thinner piece of paper where it would work better, and then glue it on there. You are able to be as creative as you want to be. And in just a few minutes, Chloe and I will be on Zoom with you, and you'll be able to ask us any questions that you have. So the other thing I want to do is I just want to show you a little bit of some tricks that you can use with colored pencils. So let me do that right now. Okay, let's talk about color. So I have, and how to use color pencils to make your drawings really super interesting and have what I call depth of color. So I have got to my, I've gotten my color pencils. I've got my primary colors here. I have my secondary colors here. And then I have one color that's just kind of fun, okay? Now, what I'm going to show you is how you can make things more interesting. So let's just say that I have this, this leaf. And I'm not going to do anything super special with it, but I know leaves are green, so I'm going to color it in green. And that's kind of interesting, and I know it's a leaf because it's got that leaf shape and it's green, so I can pretty much tell that's what it is. But I can actually make this leaf a lot more interesting, and I'm going to show you how. So what I can do is I can draw that same shape, right, in my green. And then I can take my blue, I know that seems kind of weird, and I can draw the darker parts of that leaf. And so I'm going to make sort of a values, right? And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm going to go around the edges with the blue too, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what I know about mixing colors to make this leaf green. I know that yellow and blue make green. So I'm going to start to color, and look what happens. I'm going to just show you. If I put a little bit of blue down and then I go over it with yellow, look what happens. It turns green. And then if I think that it needs to be even more green, I can add a little bit more depth. And look at how nice that looks. Look at how much more interesting this is than this. So I'm going to go over this leaf now. I'm going to color this whole leaf yellow. And it's not really green right now, but all the places where blue is, they are. And now I don't even have to be careful about anything. When I go over this with the green, the parts that are yellow will stay light and the parts that are blue will stay dark. And I will have myself a very green, very interesting leaf. So this is a way that you can really make things more interesting. And you can see how this leaf is much more interesting than this leaf. And that's what we're doing, is we're going to show you how to do things like this. So the same thing goes for red or for orange. If I want something to be like maybe I'll make a sun, maybe a sunset, right? And so I put my red down, but I really want my sun to be orange. I can put yellow right over it. And now I have orange. And then if I want it to be even more interesting, I can take my orange now and go over it, which is much more interesting and much better looking than this. I think we can all agree on that. And so the more you play around with layering your colors, the better your cube is going to look. So what I'd like you to do, what you're supposed to do right now that you've seen this video, is I'd like you to start making sketches on a scratch piece of paper of what you want all 6 of your squares on your cube to look like. Which element of art and principle of design do you want to illustrate? And then start thinking about what colors you want, and by next week you should have already started coloring it. I'll see you in just a few minutes.